Hello and welcome everyone. Today we will learn one of the lesson from CBSE class 10th English. The name of lesson is The Making of a Scientist. This lesson is written by the writer Robert W. Peterson. Let's know something about the writer Robert W. Peterson. He is an American molecular biologist turned into writer. He was born on 11 June 1959 and still he is alive at the age of 61 years old. Richard H. Ebright is an American molecular biologist. He is a brand governance of professor in chemistry and chemical biology, the university laboratory director at the Vaccine Institute of Microbiology. He has also achieved the awards, the Fellow of American Association for the Advancement of Science. Let's know something about the introduction of the lesson, the making of a scientist. It is a story about a curious child who is channelizing his curiosity to become a scientist. The Richard Ebright was very close to his mother, and she plays a key role in the developing his interest in the science field. He develops a theory of cell. He states the division of cell. He is an American molecular biologist. In this lesson, we can come to know that the Richard Ebright, being a child, is given the attitude of scientific development by her mother. The condition was like this to him. He had no father and he was living isolation in area where he had no company of his friends, and that's why the mother had to play a vital role, the unique role in the development of child's scientific temperament. The theme of the lesson goes like this: the curiosity, this is the quality of the child; perseverance, the ability to hold the qualities like dedication, hard work, curiosity. These are the qualities of the scientist, and these qualities, once developed in the child in the initial stage, the child is surely become a scientist. So in this lesson, there are some main characters. They are as follows. The first character is the child himself. He is a Richard Ebright, who become the scientist later, and his mother, the mother of Richard Ebright, who plays the unique role to become the child a scientist. Then Dr. Friedrich A. Urquhart. He is the also more important character whom the Richard Ebright follow. He is the mentor for the Dr. Friedrich. Dr. Friedrich is the mentor for Richard Ebright, whom he always consult what should be done for the making of scientist. And this Dr. Friedrich A. Urquhart, who was working in Toronto University of Canada as a scientist. So in this lesson, some typical words are there from glossary sections. Let's see them. First word is curiosity, that eagerness to know something. Diseases, sickness, leagues, group of sports or club or teams to be played together. County, that is region. Starling, a common European bird who eats the insects. Here, butterfly is also insects, which was eaten by the starling bird. Entomology, most important word so far this lesson is concerned, the study of insects, which is performed by the scientist Richard Ebright. biologist. Eureka! It is a one type of interjection, expressions, a cry of triumph at the discovery, originally attributed to the Archimedes. The canoeist, it is one of sport, a person who paddles the canoe, a light boat in a narrow vertical boat to be said as a canoe. It is one kind of sports. Let's see the test in detail now. Actually, it is a little biographical sections from the childhood part of the writer Richard Ebright. Ebright's achievement as a young boy, a former Scout of the Year, excited the scientist field with a new theory, and he did at the age of 22, and it was on his sales work. Richard Ebright and his colleague roommate explained the theory of article. The child Richard Ebright was having only a single parent, that is mother. His father was no more, and even he was staying far from the civilian area society, and where he had no many friends. That's why mother was with him, and he lived in a north of Reading in Pennsylvania, USA, America, Canada. The Ebright road there was nothing to do, uh, to be done by his own, and he could not play football, baseball, etc., the team games, because he had no friends, but he could collect the things because he can manage a single. Then, being lonely, the mother thought of helping him by providing some tools like a camera and then the telescope, etc. Ebright started collecting the butterflies in kindergarten. When he was a small child, a school-going child, that time he started collecting the butterflies. And he also collected the rocks, fossils, coins, and he also became a stargazer at the night time with the given telescope by the mother. An eager astronomer, he developed the skill to become a scientist. His mother recognized his skill and encouraged him. She took him on the trips, to the long trips, wherever the sites were there. She was showing him. She also bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, and other tools and equipments to spend the time with. The Ebright sold his article at the age of 15 to the scientific journal, and he started working in the field of scientific area, and that's why gradually he was getting the success in it. It was like an home run scored in the game of baseball. Ebright's mother said that it was his friend until he started the school, and she would bring home friends for him, and he was his whole life after the husband's death. Richard was a third grade then. So at the early age, the Richard's father passed away, and the mother have to play the role of friend for the Richards to play the games, etc. The unique hobby of the Richard Ebright was collecting the butterflies. The Ebright's mother would find work for Richie if he had nothing to do, and it was for learning purpose. He wanted to learn. He eager to top grades in the school. Then he was in a second grade, and he had collected 25 pieces of butterflies, 25 different types of butterflies he had collected. You can see the different types of colors and the marks on the wings. These were found by the him in his hometown. The Ebright gets a book. This is a very much useful book. The book which turned the life of the Richard Ebright is The Travels of Monarch X. Monarch is a name of the butterfly, and the travels of Monarch X means the journey of the growth journey of the butterfly monarch X. The Ebright's mother gave him a children's book, and it was The Travels of Monarch X. Children are fond of the butterflies. So it told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, came to America. This opened the world of science to Ebright, and this made the Ebright to think of the monarch butterfly. Then he started tagging to butterfly, means he wanted to tie some names on the wings, on the wings and the legs of the butterfly with some names, etc., marking them. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study the butterflies' migrations. They were asked to tag the butterflies for research. And the book was made, and at the end of the book, it was instructions for the readers that they should tag the butterflies for the sake of research to be done further. So the Richard Ebright was following the same, that tagging the butterflies. This tag means what? You take some thread along with the some name. It should be tied to the wings or the leg of the butterflies. It was being done by Dr. Friedrich A. Urquhart of Toronto University in Canada, and who was following the same research, that is Dr. Urquhart in Toronto University in Canada. Ebright started tagging monarch butterflies as it was suggested in the book The Monarch X, Travels of Monarch X. Anyone who found the tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart, and then the butterflies were to send to the Dr. Urquhart in Canada University. Ebright rears the butterflies. Ebright grows, cultures the butterflies. The butterfly collecting season around the reading, the place where he was there, lasted for 6 weeks in the late summer. But chasing butterflies one by one won't be able to catch many, and he could not catch many butterflies, and that's why he decided to grow the butterflies together. So Richard Ebright raised a flock of butterflies, and he could reach a female, and he could catch a female monarch butterfly, because he had read the book The Travels of Monarch X, and take her eggs and hatching them, and he would raise them in his basement from egg to adult butterflies. Then he would tag the butterflies' wings and let them go to be sent to the Dr. Urquhart in Canada University. But he loses interest. Soon Ebright began to lose interest tagging the butterflies. The reason was that there was no feedback given by the doctor. Only 2 butterflies had been caught by him, and their distance was not more than 75 miles from where he lived. And distance was also more, so he could not go there often by putting the 2 only butterflies. Then he decided to do the real experiment in the lab. In the 7th grade, that is in the 7th class, Ebright got a hint of doing real scientific experiments, and he entered a country science fair. He participated in country science fair, and there he could not get the success. He lost the hope or any award there. His entries were slides of frog tissues, and in a country science fair, he had presented his scientific experiment on the slides of frog tissues. He displayed the frog tissues in the slides, but it was not a realistic and more appreciated project experiment he had displayed there. So he realized that the winners had tried to do the real experiment, the needful experiment. So he decided to do the real experiment later, and the subject was the insect work. And then he held the subject, that is the insect, that is the butterfly as we know that he had already been doing, collecting the butterflies, rearing them, growing them, tagging them. Now he decided to work in that area, because in those days butterflies were dying in so many, because What was the reason? It might be the food chain birds might be eating, but no, it was cancer. Cancer is a one means unwanted cell in the body which damaged the whole life that he had studied. Means the cell structure, the division of cell and growth of body. He had learned that. And writes Dr. Urhardt, whom he was following as a scientist and want to become a scientist. He wrote to Dr. Urhardt in Canada University for more ideas how to do the real experiment, and back came from many suggestions to do the experiments. And this kept Ebright busy all through the high school life, schooling, etc. And this also led him to win the prize winning project in country and international science fair, and which information institutions really helped him to get the biggest prize in the fair and the international level. His research wins for his 8th grade project next year. After 7th standard, in 8th grade he performed and he displayed one more project that Ebright tried to find the cause, the reason of viral disease existing into the butterfly. It killed all the monarch butterflies. He thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. In the picture, you can see the beetles of various colors. The beetles might be damaging the butterflies, and he thought of that, but it was not the case. They tried raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles, but it did not get any real result because there was no connection at all, anything. The insects, butterflies and insect beetles grew naturally in their own way. It did not intervene anybody's life. But he showed his real experiment. He won there how the cells were there to divide and grow. His theory on butterflies. The next year, in his science fair project, was testing the theory, and he displayed there. The theory was that viceroy butterflies copy the monarch butterflies. Means there are two types of butterflies copying each other because survival of fittest. In order to survive, everyone has to try to copy someone or to adjust with someone. Here, the survival of fittest, this English proverb is most important. Here, these butterflies, in order to save their life, they are copying each other's life. The theory was that viceroy looked like a monarch because monarchs don't taste good to birds. Now listen it carefully. Monarchs don't taste good to birds. Means birds, any birds don't eat the monarch butterflies because their taste is bitter, tasteless, and that's why viceroy butterflies copying the monarch butterflies. Means in their look, etc. Means how to survive, that process is there. Means here viceroy butterflies copy the monarch butterflies. What is the main reason? The monarch butterflies does not taste good to the birds because birds eat the insects. What insects? Butterflies. So viceroy butterfly is really a good one, that is improvised one, the intelligent one to copy the working style of monarch butterfly. So the more they look like monarch butterfly, the less likely they are to become the bird's food or bird's victim. And that project was to see the birds would eat monarch. Project wins. He found that the starling, it is a bird, a bird who eat the insects, would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarch it would get, and this project was placed first in the zoology division, and it became the third overall in his country's science fair. And this project got the third prize in the science fair. Then he developed the new theory. In his second year in high school, Abraham began his research and it led to the discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it led to his new theory on the life of cells. Here, egg, larva, then pupa and butterflies. This is the life cycle of the butterflies to growth as he was growing it. And he decided to work on uh, the life of cells in the insect. About the gold spot on the butterflies. On the wings of butterflies, he noted some gold colored spots are there. And the question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spot on a monarch pupa? Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, but the doctor, that spots were not ornamental, that is simply for decorations. But the doctor Urhard didn't believe it, and he wanted to tell very much emphasis that this has something different, that the ornamental golden spot on the wings of the uh, butterfly have different functions, and that's why it was there. So here we are discussing the butterflies uh, of various species with the name viceroy butterfly, monarch butterfly, etc. About the hormones. To find the answer, Albright and another students built a device. It showed that the spots were producing the hormone, and these spots are producing the hormone that fluid from the cell within the body. It was necessary for the butterfly's full development, and this project won Albright first place in the country's fair, and it also won entry into the International Science Exhibition and Engineering Fair. There he won the third place in the zoology, and he also got a chance to work in a Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. Then he continued his advanced experiment. As a high school junior, he continued his advanced experiment on the monarch pupa, and this year his project won the first place at the International Science Fair. Then again he went in a deeper side of the project, and this is the main core part of the project, and it made him the remarkable achievement in his life, the structure of cell and the division of cell and the development of cell. This is the main experiment he has done being biologist, that Richard Albright. In his science senior year, he grew cells from monarch wings in and culture. Culture means growth. And he showed that the cells would divide and develop into the normal butterfly wing scales. Scales means that is a circular shapes like a fish. This would be if they were laid into the hormone from the gold spot. That project won the first place for the zoology at the International Fair, and he also worked at the Army lab, at the USA Department and the Agriculture lab. Then he identifies the hormone. Hormone is a fluid secreted from the cell to assimilate into the body, and it helps to develop the life within the body. The following summer, coming summer, Albright went back to the Department of Agriculture lab. There he worked on the hormone theory, and finally he was able to identify the hormone's chemical structure. Then he studied, after cell, he studied the hormone, then he studied the DNA. DNA is most important elements so far the uniqueness of the life is concerned. A year and a half later, Albright got the idea of his new theory about the cell life. He also did so because seeing the X-ray photo of the chemical structure, the photos gave him the answer of one of the biologist's puzzle. It was how the cell can be read. The blueprint of its DNA. The DNA is the substance of the nucleus of a cell. Nucleus is a part of central part of the cell that controls the heredity, and it is the blueprint for the life, and this is the main element of study for the life, that nucleus of the cell, then through which the hormones are secreting into the body to grow, and this is what the study of DNA he is doing there. The paper about the experiment. The Albright and his college roommates James R. Wong drew pictures and constructed the plastic models, and they made them to show how it could happen. Together they later wrote the paper explaining the theory. Testing the theory, surprisingly Richard Albright graduated from Harvard with the highest honors, and he also became the graduate student of researchers at Harvard Medical School, and there he began experimenting to test the theory. Then further advancement in his theory was the theory proves correct, and it will be a big step towards the understanding the life process of the insects as well as human being, because he studied the cell, the nucleus of cell, hormones, and the DNA. It might also lead to know the ideas. This could be a new for the preventing types of cancers and other diseases. Means the development of abnormal cells that to be said as the cancers, and that's why he was studying how the abnormal cells are developing into the body, causing the tumors, etc. Then Abright's other interest. The Abright's had of her interest also. Then he became a champion debater and public speaker. He also became a good canoeist, an all-rounder outdoors person. He also an expert photographer of nature and scientific exhibit. So along with the scientific skill, this Albright developed the different kinds of other skills also. Then he became the champion of debater. He was able to debate very much efficiently. He was talking in a plus and minus of the any object in a very male manner, and he become a public speaker. The role of mother is most important to become and to develop this child into holistic development for the child. Moreover, he was visiting the places. Then moreover, he was having a good nature photographers, and then he wanted to show his scientific skill to the world by different versions. So Albright and his teachers. So Albright also found someone to admire, and he was his. It was Richard A. Weyhier, his social studies teacher. The Albright said about him that he opened his mind to new ideas. Richard A. Weyhier spoke highly of Albright about his interest, and he won because he wanted to do the best job. Means the encouragement was given by his social science teacher, and that's why he could do the highest work. So thereby the lesson ends. We have seen how the scientist, how the process of making of scientist, the Richard Albright by his mother teacher helped him to become the scientist, because curiosity, perseverance, and the ability to work in a different angles and interest made him a scientist. So the story teaches us that the perseverance, dedications, hard work help us to achieve the dream. Even there should be a curiosity to know about what is the more possibility of anything, and that made the anyone to become a scientist. I hope you understood this lesson. Hereby I conclude it. Thank you.